Okay guys, so today my day starts here at Symphony Auto Care, where I am just picked up a new water jet for the car wash. Yesterday what happened was that our water jet, one of our water jets, our new fist water jets, well, there was a mishap and I had to source a replacement one. So thankfully my partners, they have one in stock, so I'm here to pick up, and we're gonna open the shop. So today I'm also driving the Honda City. Alright, so departing Bukit Raja, heading back to Sungai Besi now. So today I'm also happen to be reviewing the new, well, not say the new, but it was launched last year, right? But still, it's the current gen Honda City. And my usage pattern of this car today, well, it's pretty, I would say, well, pretty similar to the typical demographic of buyers for this car. Cars like the City, the Vios, you know, in this 80,000 ringgit price segment. Maybe even you can include the Proton Persona, which is at a price level below. These are the B segment. These are cars that are, well, basically the all-rounders. Okay, these are most people buy these as all-purpose cars. You know, the demand for these cars, the appeal for these cars, the usage of these cars transcend various segments. I mean, you could be a fresh grad, you could be a student, mommy and daddy buy a car for you, or you could be a retiree, you know, just buying a simple, no frills, no nonsense car to get around your daily business. Now, one particular demographic of buyer, I think, who frequently use cars like the City and the Vios and the Almera would probably be, you know, the young late 20s, early 30s people. These are still relatively fresh members of the workforce, so they have made some progress in their careers, and they are, you know, they have just graduated from their national cars, and they have moved up to you know, to this segment. All right, but at the same time, there's still a long way for them to go. They still have a long way to go, you know, before they reach the peak of their careers. They're still on the way up, and they're probably at a stage where, you know, they're still functioning as foot soldiers of whatever company that they are working in, and as a result, they are the ones usually needed to, you know, to cover a lot of ground between places, like what I am doing today. All right, so morning, I left my house in PJ, came here to Bukit Raja to pick up this pick up the water jet. Now I have to travel to Sungai Besi to do to bring it to the shop. Of course, now because the shop is still new, I'm having to do this myself. But imagine, you know, several years down the road, when I have a bigger team, when I have a bigger business, this is a task that I could easily delegate to a more junior member of my team, who presumably will be driving a car like the Honda City. Cars like the City in this segment, they need to have that all-rounder capability. They need to be able to be fuss-free, seamless, point A to point B transportation. So it means that these are cars that basically I should be able to go from place to place to place to place, don't break down on me, easy to drive, easy to live with. And for the longest time ever, you know, for many generations, Honda has always had the right product in the City to fit that bill. Okay, so this one here, well, initial impressions as I sit here inside this cabin, this is the highest spec petrol model. Above this, of course, there is the hybrid version that is, well, priced on the north side of 100,000 ringgit. So this is still in the 90,000 ringgit price range. But what I'm seeing here, well, pretty good first impressions. Firstly, the steering wheel here, okay, leather wrapped, so nice to hold. The gauge, the instrument cluster is a simple analog 2 dial with a monochrome, you know, center digital display. A bit old-fashioned, but functional. So I still get trip meter, I still get odometer, fuel consumption reading, and a digital fuel gauge, gear position, you know, outside temperature reading. Okay, I got start-stop button. We have a touch screen here in the middle, auto climate control, single zone. All right, we even have Honda Lane Watch, so that is a plus. And now recently Honda has also introduced one spec upwards, which previously when they launched the City, AEB was only available in the hybrid model. Now Honda gives you the option of speccing that into the petrol model, of course the higher spec variant. It's not available in this test car, but you can add that into the range topping petrol model if you have the budget for it. But right now, even in this spec, right, you have Honda Lane Watch. So the thing is that, let's say like when I flick my left signal, or when I press a little button on the indicator stop, the touchscreen, the center touchscreen will show me a camera feed from the side mirror, okay, warning me, giving me a good view whether or not there's another car, or more importantly, if there's another motorcycle hiding inside my blind spot that my side mirror cannot see. Okay, so that's that in terms of features. And overall, the dashboard, the construction of this dashboard, actually, well, the top piece here, hard plastic, expected, but there is a leather wrapping here at the door card, right? And also along the sides of the center console, as well as the dashboard. Okay, so nice premium touch. But the funny thing is, you see here, this is beige color, but the seats are black. So usually this trim piece here, okay, the color would match that of the seats, but in this case they don't. And I think that's a waste, because if they had spec'd the interior with beige seats, now I know there's a lot of people who say, no, all these lighter colors difficult to maintain, right? But I think it would really make the cabin look a lot more spacious, look a lot more airy. And in any case, I mean, if let's say like your seats, a white color seats, they stain or whatever, send to my shop lah. I can help you clean up, no problem. Okay, charge, we can discuss. Okay, enough of the plug. Now coming back to the City. So firstly, right now I'm turning onto the highway. Okay, getting the 1.5 liter petrol engine, paired with the CVT. This is a new petrol engine. Okay, previously for the last 2 generations, the City has been running on the 1.5 R15 twin cam. Okay, well, performance is quite effortless, and you know, without needing to exert the engine significantly. Okay, the engine is paired with the CVT. Without needing to exert it significantly, I'm already cruising at motorway speeds, 110 kilometers per hour, 2,500 RPM, very, very comfortable. But of course, if you are a bit naughty, you want to push it a bit faster, naturally you have to work the engine that little bit harder. Handling wise, the City is, I would say, it loses out to the Proton Persona in terms of sharpness, in terms of rock solid stability, but it's still competent enough to meet the needs of this segment. And also the ride comfort is pretty well sorted. So when I was driving over some of the bad patches of road, the road markings and all that, the suspension actually coped and soaked up all the undulations, the uneven surfaces pretty well. It's just that when I now take this sweeping bend, I don't get the same kind of confidence to really pin the throttle down the way I do in the Persona or the Iris. But that is not, I think, a deal-breaking factor for most buyers, you know, in this segment. I think more people would appreciate that this car is comfortable enough, the performance is decent, and the cabin, I have to say, Honda has once again dressed up this cabin, did a fantastic job with this cabin. Not only have they improved, not only have they preserved the usual practicality that they are renowned for, but they have really improved on the material selection. And that is something I also observed recently when checking out the new Civic. Okay, so now I'm on the main stretch of the NKVE, and this is the kind of traffic that you would usually go through if you are being sent by a company on that sales trip to Penang, to JB, to Kuantan. All right, and well, if you want to carry a bit more speed, the engine now starts. Well, it's a nature of it being a small engine. You need to start to work the engine a little bit harder. You will need to use upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 RPM, and that's when the serenity of the cabin, I would say, is broken a little. So you see, the thing is that, right, the engine is a decent performer, it's a willing enough performer. You rev it in the 2,000 to 3,000 RPM range, there is decent mid-range pull. All right, that ensures you have ample amounts of torque ready to help you keep up with the needs of day-to-day traffic. But the thing is that with the city here, you can keep up with the fastest cars on the highway, like your BMWs, your Mercedes, the 20i's, the 30i's, all these. You have the speed to keep up with them, but the thing is, you need to work your engine a lot harder, and that is where you can't escape. Sometimes if you really need to cover a lot of ground in one day, the city cars, like in this segment, the City, the Vios, the Almera, they have enough performance to do the job, but you want to do it at, I would say, a rapid pace. And you do not want to arrive at your destination feeling too tired. That is when you may find yourself needing to upsize or upgrade to something with at least 200 horsepower under the hood. You see, because the idea is that it's not about wanting to speed or whatever, but it's about the effortless accumulation and maintenance of your pace as you travel. So, like for example, right now, for this car to maintain 110 kilometers per hour is not a problem. But let's say right now I'm on a fast lane, suddenly some car seeps in 80 kilometers per hour, force me to slow down, for me to recover, and when he moves aside, for me to recover back that 30 kilometers per hour of speed, right, I need to exert significantly more effort than I otherwise would in a 200 or 300 horsepower car. And all these micro delays in your journey, all right, add up in terms of your own, fatigue, your own driving experience. That differentiates a car that is merely adequate from one that is truly good. Now, this is not a criticism leveled against the city per se, but rather what I'm saying is, as an overall philosophical standpoint of where cars in this segment stand, evaluated within the context of its segment, in this 80,000, 90,000 price bracket, right? The city's driving experience, I would say, is good, is right up there with the. It does not lose out against any of its rivals. The only the Proton Persona and the Proton Iris really can say, okay, offers better handling than the city. But in terms of powertrain refinement, no contest from the Protons whatsoever. The Vios is not bad, but in terms of the driving experience, I would say, well, maybe the Vios also handles better than the city, but I think the city's engine and drivetrain combo is perhaps the best tune, in this price range. And the overall ride and handling package is good enough. Okay, so now I'm off the highway on, well, regular town roads, and I am approaching a speed bump. Slow down. Well, the absorption over speed bumps is decent, but in the context of stop-go traffic here in all these smaller roads, right, where you use a higher burst of RPMs over shorter distances, then this is where you experience a coarser nature to the engine. You're slightly rougher edged when you rev it past 3000 RPM, which is not uncommon in this segment, to be honest. Okay, so well, handling is alright. So I just took a sweeping right-hander. The car handled tidily. So now another speed bump. So as expected of a car with this kind of suspension setup, the front really soaked up the front McPherson struts really soaked up the bumps, but the rear, because of its torsion beam, there's a very slight bounce, but overall well contained. So once again, not expected behavior of a car with this kind of setup and segment, but entirely acceptable for the price range. Okay, so we brought the City back to the shop, and well, you can see this is a very familiar silhouette. Okay, it's an evolution that started with the GM2 City in 2008, that continued with the GM6, and now this guy here. Okay, so with the GM2, I would say at that time Honda blazed a trail in the B segment. It set new standards in the B segment that that consumers with a 70,000-80,000 ringgit budget, okay, did not need to settle for something drab looking. They can expect something that looks good, looks sporty, looks sophisticated, looks premium. And this latest City follows on that template, but of course with elements that are with new styling elements that bring it in line with today's tastes. So here you can see the front end, okay, now gets all LED illumination in this top spec petrol model. Okay, this styling cue, this is now the trademark Honda front grille with this thick horizontal chrome element here. And now at the bumper, very simple treatment. Okay, here down here there's this blade like structure, and then at the corner here with a simple fog light and well, fake air vents here lah. Okay, and they have this this chiseled corner here to give it a bit more of a sporty appearance. Now, one thing I have to say is that this City, okay, they seem to have made the proportions slightly taller. So you can see there's a lot of metal here. There's a lot of metal here, and what it has happened is that it seems to make the tires and the wheel arches small in comparison. Okay, now there's also a very sharp character line here that defines the side profile. That's a nice touch, but they sort of missed the opportunity by not putting the door handle to run parallel, to integrate it with the character line. Okay, that would have made it look really premium. So down here at the side, this top spec petrol model also has Honda lane watch. This example here does not have AEB, but now you can. There's also a higher spec V-sensing model that adds AEB to the petrol model. Previously, the AEB was exclusive only to the hybrid. Okay, so down here you can see these multi-spoke rims, with a shining finish, and 185/55/16 tires. A bit of an unusual size, limited in terms of tire selection, and drum brakes at the rear. Okay, so you come here to the back. Now the tail lights get a 3-dimensional treatment. So here LED tail lights, tail light illumination here. So it's a thick bar, nice touch, with signal lights here, reverse light here. You have got a reverse camera as well. So overall, even the rear design, okay, follows an evolutionary progression from the previous gen GM6 model. Okay, with the narrow tail light design. Okay, with a wide spanning, but short. Okay, so we shall open the boot. Okay, typical of Honda, the rear boot is very, very spacious. Okay, large boot. I can't remember the exact dimensions. But as you can see, it's tall, it's deep, okay, but and you have access to 60/40 split folding, so you have to just pull this release lever, okay, and you can come to the front and bring the seat backs down. Now this is unusual because that is a very big step, and Honda don't usually do this. Honda, I mean, okay, fair enough, you get more vertical height here, but the thing is that there's no flat loading floor, so you can't, so when you load long items, you have to deal with that step there. There isn't a seamless floor, okay, so and you see this here, underneath here, this is a solid structure. Oh, look at that, welded. So we come to the rear passenger compartment. Now you can see the door card. This is what I was saying earlier in the driving video. Very nice touch to put this white contrast area, this beige contrast, and it's soft touch. But I think it's an opportunity missed that the seats are not of this color. Usually in most cars, the door card, this trim in the door card matches the color of the seat. So when you know, not these two not matching, it looks as if as the owner, after collecting the car, went to rewrap the seats. Okay, it's not a matching. Usually this would match. Okay, and so the armrest here has two molded cup holders. That's nice. Rear air con vents, two 12-volt sockets. Good. Now, and of course the leg room here looks spacious, and here you can see the floor here is raised. So this is Honda's design. Their B segment platforms, the middle section of the floor is always raised to accommodate a middle mounted fuel tank that allows the installation of ultra seats in models like the City hatchback or the Jazz. Now I'm 170 centimeters tall, so headroom, I've got, well, an inch of headroom, but lean angle is good, so it's a very comfortable place to be in. Well, this much of leg room. The seat, the thigh support is decent in the context of the segment, but although I still feel that the Proton Persona and the Proton Iris still give you more, the seats at the back are still more comfortable, even if those two cars aren't anywhere near as spacious here as the City. I also want to show you this headrest shape. Looks a bit weird, right? Okay, so this is the dashboard, but let me just bring you and view it from the front. Alright, so here, well, firstly, the door panel. These are the power window controls, lock and unlock button on the power window panel, not present at the passenger side. Alright, so well, that is one inconvenience there. And here you can see we have the start stop button here, stability control, and of course steering mounted controls. Now the steering design, nice, sporty. You've got paddle shifters here. Let me just show you these. So this is the instrument cluster. Okay, a very simple analog 2-dial. So you've got a monochrome middle display here. That's it, but good enough. All right, the petrol model gives you a sort of like an analog speedometer plus a screen here. So here in the petrol model you don't get it, but to me that's fine, no big deal. Okay, so here central touch screen controls the radio functions, so, or you can drag. All right, so here, nice, these are the aircon controls, very nicely integrated, very neatly presented. This is good. It is good. Okay, so all the AC controls are, you know, nice, easy reach. And let me show you these storage spaces here. So you've got rear seat belt indicators. That's great. 2 USB ports there, 12-volt socket, and here, right here, you have this tray here. to put your phone. Okay, and there's another tray here as well. So you've got also two cup holders there, not rubberized, but the surfaces are textured. So well, actually when you drive, if you drive hard about, right, things may slide about there a bit, but overall, as usual, from Honda, the allocation of space inside here is fantastic. The way they partition the center console. Here there's this space here, so when I drop my handbrake, so maybe this is not really meant to be a storage space, but you can drop like your parking tickets here or whatever. Here there's this slot here, maybe you can drop, okay, maybe the Smart Tag isn't such a great item to put here, but you can certainly put phones here. The this box here actually surprisingly small, and of course the glove box here as well. So, and of course here you can see the white contrast trim here. This is a very nice touch. The quality of this dashboard, I have to say, does feel like a major step up from the GM 6th generation. Okay, they even took the trouble to put that, you know, it's like a laminated finish on the start-stop button, so that is very, very much appreciated. So yeah, I mean, I think in terms of interior cabin finish, this is perhaps best in class. Okay, I think only the Nissan Almera, okay, has anything that comes close to challenge the quality of this Honda cabin. So this is one area where this City greatly improved over its predecessor. The previous City, well, the cabin was nice, spacious, practical, but the quality felt distinctly average. This one here, we can see that there's a major improvement in terms of the quality, material selection, fit and finish. Now let's look under the car. So under the car, you've got this engine cover, well, protecting the engine from splashes, from mud splashes. That's nice. Okay, and you can see here at the side the CV joint coming out to power the right wheels, the McPherson strut suspension here. This is the lower A-arm, okay, and that's the strut and spring on top. Get the exhaust there, all right, and so you can see here, right, the floor all the way to the back is flat. They run the exhaust, okay, through the side of the car, and that gives them, okay, a lot of space to utilize in the middle. Now let's go to the back. Okay, so looking at it from the back, okay, you can see here, this is the spare tire well area. The exhaust, you can see, well, it runs through the side of the car and comes out here to the muffler. This is the torsion beam. So it is a H-shaped torsion beam whereby the trailing arm is pivoted right here, okay, comes out here, and the beam itself runs, well, it's just like the Peugeot 208 I showed you earlier. It's mounted, like, you know, in the middle. It comes out from the midway through the trailing arm of the torsion beam. The spring struts, the spring and the absorbers are mounted separately. All right, and the fuel tank is here. This is the fuel tank. So unlike the Jazz, well, which get ultra seats, this the City here does not have ultra seats. The fuel tank is mounted at the back, but still, notice the middle section of the undercarriage is put in with a plastic cover. So Honda has, well, evidently, even the underside of the car, they've taken the effort to protect the undercarriage. And also, of course, this gives the added benefit of, you know, of better airflow through the undercarriage. There's less drag flowing through the undercarriage, and that comes to the benefit of reduced noise levels and also better fuel consumption. Okay guys, so here you have it. This is our review of the Honda City. Now, shape-wise, this really looks barely different from its predecessor, but make no mistake, this one, well, it retains all the qualities that we have come to be familiar with of last two generations of the Honda City. Interior is practical, it's spacious, there's enough performance, okay, boleh pakai punya handling. So for most buyers shopping within the 70k to 90k budget, this is not a car that would disappoint you. Okay, the biggest improvement that I see with this car definitely is the interior build quality. Fantastic, major step up from the outgoing GM6 model. Styling wise, honestly, I'm not such a big fan of it. I think the proportions of this car have grown a bit too tall for my liking. The GM2 to me is still the most handsome version of the City that we have seen so far. But otherwise, there really is nothing much to complain about this car. And the best part is, you even now have the option of specifying ADAS, advanced driver assist systems. So that really gives the City a big advantage when compared with its segment rivals. Okay, so the Honda City, all right, in the context of the B segment, it's in a way it's based on the familiar formula, but of course with significant improvements in its execution, and still a very, very viable choice if you are shopping in the budget.